I'ma get $1 million in the bank.
What up, y'all? It's Rap Latte. I'm Torre.
And I am King Green. These are deeper conversations about hip hop, and we here with Scru Face Jean. Oh, Jean.
You said it perfectly. Usually people don't say it. That's perfect. Jean.
Are you Haitian?
Like White Club. No, I'm Nigerian, 100%.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. But still, Scru Face Jean. Let's get it.
Yeah.
So what's the matter with Akademiks? Why are you hating on Akademiks? He's our friend. We love
we're going right into that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
Torre,
safe space. Say whatever the fuck you want about Akademiks.
Nah, I'm a Simon guy. I got a few problems with Akademiks, honestly. Where I've always thought the stuff that he's done, he's pretty culturally, I think, clueless. He does a lot of goofy stuff. He gets away with a lot of stuff, and it gets forgiven, which is weird. I still don't understand how people allowed the war on Chirac thing to happen and just move on like, oh no, he learned, as if he wasn't a grown man when it happened. There's only but so many times I can see videos of you pushing your girl up against a wall. The list goes on and on. And then eventually when he pulled up my tweet and he did a whole, it was like half his live stream, 30 minutes of the live stream, he was talking about my tweet. And in the tweet, he was throwing a lot of shade at me. And it was just like, he kept doing things like, oh, this is a nobody. Nobody knows who this guy is. Who is this guy? He's a nobody. He just kept doing that. And even in his own chat, they're like, bro, this is Scru. Like, you should know, like, this is Scru. Like, and then when I reacted to it, I pulled up 2 different occasions Akademiks has already mentioned. So I was like, I don't know why you were doing that. And I felt like I ain't about to let Akademiks little bro me, especially when the channels he was doing that on are smaller than mine. And I've seen him, that's his tactic. Like, I'm not like
he tries to other people. Yeah.
Exactly. I know his tactics, and I'm not stupid. Like, I love debating. That's what I do. So it's like he tried the little bro thing. It didn't work. And then I noticed, because the channels I did it on were bigger than his, I noticed after I dropped my diss track, he didn't say anything. And then when Rhapsody did her freestyle, which I know Rhapsody is a way bigger artist. I'm not even acting like but I'm saying just views wise and like motion wise, mine was bigger. And I thought him addressing Rhapsody and not me was exactly what I was talking about with him and women. And I don't rock with the dude. I get like he does what he does, and he's built a platform, more power to him. But I also think that he is the beginning of a lot of issues in our culture. He's not the cause. I'm not saying he's the cause, but there's a lot of people who do stuff like that whole war on Chirac moment. I think we're still paying the consequences to that, killing people for clout. I'm not saying he created that, but he definitely helped it move along on a mainstream level.
He brought a lot of exposure. I completely agree with that. And he's using and targeting people who he feels he can bully. You know what I'm saying? That's why he looks at women this way, as well as he's part of this whole manosphere space where he's like championing that. And that manosphere is created out of an insecurity. We were talking about it when we were talking about Drake, is about how these is to be frank, these is niggas that never got women, never had no girlfriend coming up and growing up in their life. And then they work so hard on something, and the internet provided an opportunity. Now money allowed them to be around maybe women or something like that, and you still are goofy. You still do goofy things, react to women in a goofy way because you have some built up resentment because of your insecurities. And that's what you see. And it's like I just never cared to like really address super, super goofy people who have, but when they do things that are detrimental to the culture or women like that, it's like, come on now, bro. It's like, that's
it bothers me to see him be this stenographer for Drake. So he's sort of seen as this important media figure, but all you're doing is taking texts from Drake and just reporting them without any context, without any pushback, without asking important questions. So you're just a fax machine that just spits out, Drake told me this, and I'm like, that's not media, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Drake is really doing what he's supposed to do and just stringing Akademiks along. And if
can you believe they've never met?
Yeah, that's the part that is insanity. That's why I put it in the diss track, so much of it, because you would think that they had met before, but he's basically stringing him along and treating him like he's the pretty girl that's using somebody so they can get food. Like, that's what he's doing. He's just like playing, and Drake's supposed to do that. But like, if
you're an MC, you got shows, and both of y'all. If you had a media member who was as loyal as Akademiks, eventually you would say, come to a show, come to a listening party.
Oh, like, yeah, you'd have to.
I want to give back to you of something.
But I think Drake is business-wise smart, and I think he knows Akademiks. Akademiks is good for works for his brand in a distance, but he doesn't want to attach himself to Akademiks too close. Because notice, even he did the same thing with Top 5. Top 5 came out of jail, right? And the second he started talking crazy, you have never seen him and Drake even communicate in public anymore. When before they were doing it. Drake knows how to use them people, cut them off, put them on over there, and then but Akademiks keeps hoping there's that one chance. If I keep doing this, then maybe he'll. But if somebody else was doing what Akademiks was doing to a woman, Akademiks would call them a simp. With his whole red pill movement, that's exactly what he do.
Fact.
That's exactly what he said.
If Akademiks was taking dictation from Nicki Minaj, Akademiks would call him a simp.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Exactly.
If there was a man acting like this to like a woman that he's trying to pursue, Ak would be like, "Oh man, you down bad. She don't want you. She clearly using you. Oh man, that's exactly what's happening." And Ak isn't stupid. Ak knows that, but I think Ak, what he did is put all of his eggs in a basket, and he's seeing that basket fall. And that's another thing where I said about my tweet when he came at me. I was like, he's clearly trying to do like a soft rebrand where he's not going to just now go F Drake, but he's saying things now that he would have never said during the battle. I don't care what he says. This dude was literally crying when Not Like Us dropped. There's a crying tears. You're not going to sit here and now be like, "No, I've been nonpartisan the whole time, I've been unbiased." You were physically crying. You're like, no.
Right.
Let's talk about the battle. Well, one, I want to just wrap it up in saying like he clearly was appealing to the manosphere crowd and pushing towards that, and his insecurities drove him to kind of like see the people he could bully, who he thinks he could bully. Like he thinks he could bully a woman. He thinks he could do this, and that's why he's aggressive in that way. And I see that. But if we're talking about the art, which we love to talk about, and the reactions to it, at that time, during the reactions and during the beef, how was it for you? Because you're a reactor, and we know that like everybody was reacting to this beef. I want to know, like, were you just sitting by your computer? Like, was the camera just on, and you're like, yo, waiting for Kendrick to drop? Because I got put onto your video actually because you reacted to years ago Caterpillar, which is Eminem, Royce, and me on that song. That's because I was just looking at reaction.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm that King Green. But I'm that King Green. But
that's nuts.
But I'm saying,
yo, wait, Green. What did you think of his reaction to your shit?
He was like, the chorus is dope. And I was like, I fuck with this thing. And that's me on the chorus. I was like, you see, I literally went to like 25 reactions because Eminem, so everyone's reacting. 25 reactions just to see what niggas said about the chorus. I was like, and some niggas said, yo, this nigga should have had a verse. I starred all them niggas. I subscribed to all them niggas. So that's why I knew about Scru Face.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, you guys knew about full circle like shit. But you guys knew about this shit. Y'all know this is happening, and y'all waiting for this shit. And you're seeing Ak. Are you reacting to? Because I didn't see it. Are you reacting to Ak's reactions? Like, how was that whole moment for you? Just the beef in general. I just want to know how that felt for you from a reactor standpoint. Because we know how everybody felt like on edge.
Yeah. So just to wrap up that last act thing, because I didn't know if I said this on here or not.
Okay, go ahead.
The main reason I dissed him is because he put up the screen and gave me like a 30-minute rant where he was belittling me, acting like I was a nobody, saying who's this, when I went and proved that he had already talked about me 2 other times. So he was just trying to little bro me, and it didn't work. But because the channels he did that on were smaller than mine. But
yeah,
that battle
Flex.
really, my whole thing is like, I love battle rap. Like that's my style of rapping. People know me for battling on YouTube. I love battle rap. I've gone to smack events and all this stuff. So it just felt like the stars aligned because Kendrick is my favorite. Drake is, when this battle fresh started, my two favorite, Drake and Kendrick were right there. Before pre-lawsuits and everything, Drake and Kendrick were right there. And I was like, all right, cool. Now I put Kendrick up. I always put Kendrick above Drake musically, but Kendrick I felt wasn't out a lot, right? And I learned later through this battle that was actually very smart. But when the initial, what was the first one? When Like That dropped, I was like, first of all, Kendrick's back, so I was super excited. And then that verse, the energy it gave me, I was just like, oh my God, we got one. We got one. Because First Person Shooter came, I reacted to that. I was like, it's a cool little song. Once I learned the story about it, I was like, oh, Kendrick's supposed to be on this. And then when I started listening to it, if people now, I always tell people this, go back and listen to First Person Shooter as a diss, like you're in Kendrick's position. I think you'll be able to, because to the people like, I don't know why he got so mad about that. Listen to that as somebody who turned down that verse and they're going like, we big as the Super Bowl. It's just me and Drake. F that other nigga. That's how it felt. And I was like, no, that feels way more like a diss track. Yeah, when you know the story. So then when that song dropped, it was crazy. And then when push-ups dropped, I like push-ups. I liked it push-ups. People were saying that.
I think most of us reacted to it that way when it first came out.
Yeah, people were saying that he was talking about his shoes.
Wait, Screw, do talk about the Saturday night for you, because for a lot of us, that Saturday night was crazy. We're still trying to input. What was it? What was the day before? The day before was Euphoria, right? It was the day before.
No, well, Friday was 6/16 was Friday.
Friday was
Saturday
6/16
morning,
which was deep as hell.
Was Family Matters.
Yeah.
Right. Saturday comes Family Matters, and then Saturday evening was Family Matters, and then 45 minutes later was Meet the Grams, right? And that was just a lot for all of us. We were trying to figure out 6/16. Here comes Family Matters with a video, and then a second later, Meet the Grams. So how is that for you when you're like, this is my job? Like I gotta set up the cameras and do Meet the Grams, and then here's do Family Matters, and then Meet the Grams before I can even get started on Family Matters.
It was such a. First of all, I'm just glad that I was like alive for this, because like I was alive for like Nas and Jay, but I was way too young to appreciate it, and I wasn't really even in America for Tupac and Biggie, so I kind of missed that. But I was glad that I saw this in real time, because I don't think we're ever going to get something like this again. I mean, legally now, I don't know if we're going to be able to, but so when that Saturday dropped. You can even go look at my tweets. I was like, as soon as one song dropped, I put the tweet where like I'm running up the steps. And then as soon as I'm recording it and dropping it, because I got to edit it. As I'm editing it, Kendrick drops. And I'm just like, what are we even doing? So I was up all night just running up and down, shooting, editing, because I was putting like skits in the beginning too, not knowing that because I was like, oh, I'm going to have time with this. Let me put a nice skit in the beginning. And then when that dropped, I said, oh man, now I got to go do this. It got to the point where, because I didn't know after Not Like Us if it was going to be over. So I started pre-doing my intros, because I was like, bro, there's no way that I'm going to be able to keep up with all this shit. But I felt like I didn't sleep for like 4 days. But and I still feel like I'm still kind of processing it, because that moment, that battle changed my life. It absolutely positively changed my life. I've actually performed with Kendrick before.
Bro? What was that like?
What was that like? It was literally, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now, but it was in the Good Kid, Mad City tour. And he came to Lincoln, Nebraska, and I hate saying this, it feels gross for me to say it, but I was the biggest artist locally in the city. That's why I opened up for him. So I thought I was just gonna go to the show.
You gotta flex, my nigga. What are you talking about?
Be real.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, I thought I was just gonna go to the show because they had called. We were like, yeah, we're gonna go, and they called my old management. They're like, we want Scru to perform, and I was like, me, Scru, or is there another Scru? Me? And like, yeah. So when we went to that show, I'm not gonna say. When I went to the show, the behind the scene, like what's it called, sound check and stuff. I got to talk to Kendrick, like right before the show and stuff. And first of all, he's very tiny guy. I'm pretty tall. He's very tiny, but he just there's like a presence around him. He was like
aura.
A dude.
There's an aura. He doesn't feel small.
Exactly. That's why when people were like, "Oh, he's a little guy. How you could be the boogeyman?" It's like, nah. He's got a presence, and the people he be around, like that's why when people are like, "Oh, what does Kendrick know about the streets?" It's like, you don't know Kendrick. You do not know Kendrick and who he moves with. But okay, so he was talking to me, and the only thing I really remember from the conversation, because I felt like I wasn't even there. I felt like I was watching myself have it, and he just ended it with like, all right, man, I'll see you at the top. And, that could just be like a nice thing to say. But when I like to think of things like poetically, I'm a rapper. So I was thinking the way it came back around that his battle is what has skyrocketed my popularity. That's why it gave me goosebumps, because I was like, it felt like, because when he said, because now when I think of that in context, see at the top, it's like, he must have really believed, because it must not have just been like because he didn't have to talk
a passing statement that a lot of people might say in passing. And you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to be. There's so many rappers that, especially the media. What I find out is that the rappers at the top are the nicest niggas in the world. The ones that are fighting to be at the top, like the mid-level ones, the dumbest and the most arrogant niggas. It's always those niggas. And the niggas at the bottom, you get nice again. If niggas is like all camaraderie and all that type of shit. But humble and shit like that. Yeah, I'm saying the wrong word. But anyways, I think that's beautiful that you said that shit, though. Say it again?
I was going to say the worst are when you're the big underground rapper. Those are the worst. Like if you open up like an underground rapper, those are the worst. Like
why?
The worst of both, because they're the worst of both worlds, because they are big enough where they can little bro ego. You and act like they're something, but they're not big enough to be acting like that. So
yeah, nobody knows them.
Yeah, but they can always say, "But you're opening up for me." So
yeah,
go. So it's like that type of shit where it says
it's a tough situation because you have this credibility because you're underground, but you don't have anything from it, and you want to get bigger. But if you get bigger, you're gonna lose the credibility because you won't be underground anymore. So you're like, I'm better than that nigga who's on the radio, but I have nothing and he has something and I'm mad about that. But if I move up, I'm going to lose the cred that I have. Like, I'm in the worst.
Two things I'd like to say about
openers.
Yeah, two things I'd like to say about that is one, I have a question of you of like, so the reaction to the battle, you're saying that skyrocketed. Tell me exactly what that means too, like how it pushed you, because you've been doing this for a while. And the other thing is with the rapper and shit and how you see it now. Being an older millennial and thinking about how I used to think about rap and how I think about it now, I actually never wanted to be a rapper in the sense of out there in the world as the archetype of a rapper. Because we came up, you had to be, I'm selling drugs or I'm a gangster in my era, right? Jay-Z's the biggest nigga, right? And everyone had to come from that space. And then 50 Cent, think about that. Then Kanye came in, and I'm only a few years, or maybe I'm about like 6 years younger than Kanye. But anyways, so I'm younger than Kanye, and Kanye broke the door for all of us in the blog era and all that type of stuff. And now I see it as I understand this shit as a kung fu, and I want to know how you feel about this. Where it's like, this is my lifestyle. I'm never going to stop rapping. This has nothing to do. The greatest MCs in the world told me I was nice. I don't give a fuck what nobody has to say, and I don't care. I just want to make art. I don't care if it makes me $1 million or $100, right? And it's gonna come out that way, and it's on my time. I want to know how you feel about that, because you're doing these disc records, you're doing the records, you might even still do shows and stuff like that. But how do you balance that with your perspective on where you're at as a rapper, as well as where you as a reaction and YouTuber? Like, it just popped off, and now you just YouTuber with like 1.9 million subscribers and shit like that.
How many subscribers do you have?
Let me check right here, because hold on.
I wanted to see if you knew off the top of your head.
Hell no.
Right away. No, it's 1.97 actually, Greed.
No, it's 1.26.
Okay.
4. So, you know.
4.
Something like that.
1.26. That's crazy.
Yeah, so the way I always look at this, I hope this answers the question. The way I always look at this is in 2024, but it's been this way for a while. It's just, I don't want to just say content and not to belittle it, but it's all the culture. I don't think there is like one last generation. Kendrick's generation, like Kendrick, Drake, that class is the last class that cannot interact with the internet and still be as big as they are. That was like more like the Jay-Z, the Eminems, the stuff, the way that even happens in movies now, where they say there's not like you kind of have to be making content. So I've always looked at it when people be like, are you a rapper or are you a reactor? Do you get offended when you get called? Nah, I'm just Scru Face Jean. If you call me a reactor, because I've been in battles before, people be like, you're not even a rapper, you're a reactor. And it's like, well, I get more views on my reactions and my music, so call me whatever you want to call me. I don't care. I'll do it, whatever. So it hasn't really changed my perception at all. It's actually made me way more into it, because when I was just a rapper, I was just focused on myself. I didn't want to listen to too much other people because I didn't want to sound like too much other people. I'm always writing. I'm looking at everything. But actually, I've always been a part of the culture, but doing reactions and doing this has made me just feel so much more attached to everything. And it's actually gave me more stuff to talk about in my music and everything. It's elevated everything. And your first question, how this the battle changed my life, is that, well, first of all, monetarily, it was great, which I also bring up because Drake is suing for, or talking about people not claiming. My Drake reactions aren't claimed either. So I don't know if people know that, because you remember when in the lawsuit he said that UMG was purposefully not claiming Not Like Us because as some cyber payola. That doesn't even make sense. But that's a part of the complaint. And when I read that, I was like, wait a minute, Drake. I've been reacting to you for a while. You don't claim all my stuff. You don't. There's battles in this that you didn't claim. So it's like, you did it too.
You mean Drake has not historically asked you for a piece of your revenue?
Yeah, no. There's songs that they definitely claim, right? But then there's a lot of songs
that they get money on. When you say claim, you mean
they get money on. Okay, yeah, I'm speaking YouTubese. Yeah, that they're getting money on. Usually when you do a reaction, the copyright claim, most of the time when you fight the claim, you're gonna win, because the Digital Millennium Copyright Act protects all that stuff. So, but there's times with Drake, even in this battle, where I reacted to a song and it didn't get claimed, just like Not Like Us. So I don't even, that's, as somebody who knows a little bit more of the background, that's why when I look at Drake's complaint and I read it through and I watched the Legal Eagles thing, I said, are you sure you want to go down that path? Yeah, because you were doing a lot of the same stuff too. And the reason why Drake was mad was because people made it a thing. I was one of those, it was me and a reactor who have the biggest videos about Kendrick not claiming. So he's clearly talking about us too. He's clearly doing that. So
So you grew up in Nigeria. You got a lot of family there.
yep,
You haven't been back in a minute, but you got a lot of family there. So you know what's really good.
yeah,
Well,
majority.
why have we not seen a big MC come out of the continent and make noise in America? Because we're open to Burna Boy, not an MC, but hip hop adjacent. Hip hop heads like the music, but he's not an
For
MC.
sure.
We love Fela. I just saw somebody the other day. They're making a movie about Fela. We had a very
Fela
popular
Kuti is
Broadway
a
show.
god, and yeah,
Right?
no, you
So
gotta.
I mean,
Every artist
Americans.
has to visit Fela's shrine in Nigeria.
Okay.
So Americans
That's like a
can
thing.
like African artists. There are some African artists we like. I think most Americans, if you asked them to name 3 African musical artists, most Americans would fail, right? Right? Some would name Fela, most would fail. But why can't we get an and I know there's MCs there, right? So talk about what's going on as far as MCs on the continent and why we haven't seen and will we ever see somebody come out of the continent and be like, I'm a big because as Americans, African Americans, we'd be like, yo, MC from Africa, like let's hear what he's got to say.
I think a lot of that has to do with the the sound and the way it's classified in the States. There's more categorization, if that's the right word, in the States, where a lot of rappers from where like Nigeria, like Afrobeat artists, they call like Burna Boy. There's some people call him a rapper, and I also think though the difference with Nigerian rap and American rap is I think people the rap was created in America by black people. So that is in the American the black American experience is in the DNA of hip hop. There's no escaping it. There's
Mm-hmm.
tropes and certain ways we build this culture, no matter who you are, that was based off of that. And I think it's simple as when you look at UK rap, when you look at when rap goes to different places, it usually doesn't quite sound exactly like it does that coming from New York. There's like a I don't want to say darkness, but there's more like a in New York with the music that came out of the Bronx and the New York and stuff like that. There's that thing in Nigeria. I could be wrong, but it feels like sometimes too like we celebrate when we don't have a lot. And it's not that we don't complain. I'm not saying that African Americans complain, and I hate the separation, by the way, of that. But um, I think it's more just if you spend time in Africa, you're gonna understand why the music sounds so melodic, and it's hard to escape melodic music, and that's why they're not even gonna think twice to
So
call Burn
you're
a
saying
rapper or
kind of
something.
like I kind of understand what you're saying, and let me translate it from my perspective. Is that like in like Caribbean music, when you think of island music, you think of joy, right?
Yep.
Celebration, and even in pain, we're bringing in it through the joy of the music, almost like in a religious way, just the way gospel is
Yeah.
like, or hymns when it comes to American culture, where it's like we're gonna take our pain and translate it to joy almost all the
Yeah.
time. And joy is joy, pain is joy. That happens a lot within
Yeah.
Caribbean music, reggae music, soca, DR, all this stuff, right? And African music, especially old Afro beat like Fela Kuti, is kind of the same way too, right?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you're saying, I think, with hip hop, the culture of hip hop is so tied to Black American experience and a lot of the struggle, the come up, and the
Mhm.
nuances in with that it's like when it's brought into a different country, they put their own stank on it, and it loses a little bit of that flavor. Is what you're saying? So maybe
Yeah.
it can't.
Well,
So you're saying it can't, like you can't see Americans can't see themselves in other people's hip hop. Is what you're saying?
or it's not even necessarily that. I think the reason why it doesn't translate the same is because the experience is a little different. But and it's not that the music doesn't translate because people love Afrobeat because people like the joy. The best way I could put a great example would be like I Shot the Sheriff, right? But we're talking about
Amazing
Jamaican,
song.
but same thing. I Shot the Sheriff. If you don't know what he's saying, it's kind of like I shot the sheriff, but I did not
the
shoot
mood,
the
the feeling.
deputy. But it's a dark song.
Super
if you
dark
listen to what he's
song,
saying.
exactly.
So even in pain, he's singing in a joyous way almost. That's the same way that I with like the African rap and stuff like that, where even when it's painful, some of these Afrobeat songs that people don't know what they're saying are dark, like are very dark, but the melodies just so
and you can dance to it.
Know how to, exactly. So it's like, I guess we just express the pain different. And I think a lot of that has to do with what the average Black American has to go through in America. Like, and I have a unique perspective because, like I said, I was born in Nebraska, but I was immediately moved to Nigeria. Yeah. And spent the first 5 years of my life there. Technically my first language, English, it wasn't my first language. I remember learning English. So,
what's your first language?
Well, Igbo technically is my first language, but like I've been speaking English for so long, and I learned English at such a young age that I've forgotten some of it. Now, if my mom is speaking to me in pure Igbo, sometimes I won't even know when she switches from English to Igbo because my American friend is like, "What's she saying?" And I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean? She's not speaking?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's second nature." Yeah. So I can hear it perfectly. For some reason, I have like a mental block of speaking it. And I think maybe that also came from like growing up when I came to America, it wasn't so open for foreign kids who don't speak English, especially in Nebraska. Like, because we came back to Nebraska after we left. So it was almost like I had to tuck it. And it was like a bad thing. Like, technically, my American name isn't even my name. So my son, I have an African name and an American name. And really,
what's your African name?
Obinna, which means the father of the soul of my, or the body of my father. So, or like the spirit of my father, heart of my father type of stuff. So, but we kind of had to have these American names to disguise. It was almost like a disguise. That's what I felt like it was, because it was all about assimilating. And so all of my siblings, our kids have Igbo names first, and their American name is their middle name.
That's an interesting sever point right there between us as African Americans and you as a Nigerian American, or at least an American immigrant, that we struggle with the notion of assimilation. We're like, we should not assimilate, but we need to code switch. But we don't want it. We feel bad about code switching, but we know we need to do it to rise up. And we'll give it a little bit. But then, like, you see Black Lives Matter. You're like, no, I want to be completely unapologetically Black. And I don't care if white people are mad when I talk. And we struggle with that in all sorts of different ways. And you're like, no, we're immigrants. We need to assimilate. Like, we need to get into the mix here. And it's interesting to hear you as a Black person be like, oh, yeah. No, we were clear. We need to assimilate. And like, there's no guilt around that.
It was survival. That's the difference. Like, when we came here, it was survival. Like, literally, it was when we came here.
Y'all were in huts with no electricity.
Look at this. This is, I don't know if you can see this.
Nah, we can't see.
This is a picture of me. Oh, dang. It's a picture of me with no shoes in Nigeria as a kid. With the flat top and everything. No shoes. Yeah.
Oh, but real village flat top
kid.
Though.
Yeah.
Because I remember I went to Senegal, and I learned a tiny bit of Senegalese, and I went to this village like way out in the boondocks, right, where there was like nothing. And I remember this little kid came up to me and he said white man in his language, and I knew the word meant white man, and there's three women, his mom and his aunts or whatever, standing behind him. And I said to him, no, I'm not white. I'm Black like you. And the women died laughing. That was the funniest thing they had ever heard. Oh, the American thinks he's Black like us.
You
Yo,
gotta think
that's
though.
a
There's people in my village who have never seen a white person in real life. Who have never. If I
Dog,
went to some of the kids in my
I'm a white person to them. When I leave the village, the cities of Africa, they're like, "Oh, he's a white man."
see, I don't know if that would be because in Nigeria they would probably just call you high yellow. Like they still be saying stuff, but that's like an actual. They would like classify you as that though. They would be like, but it's all. There's not really. There's colorism, but not in the same way because it doesn't have the same context. There's more
I mean,
tribalism. I'm not saying like
in America, we're saying if you have a little color, at least a little color, you're black. And
one
in
drop
Africa,
rule.
it's like if you're not totally black, you're white.
Well, I wouldn't say Africa because the entire continent's different. So
yeah, Nigeria's a little different because I have
the
cousins
thing
who are
about
lighter
race
than you.
in every single country, I'm gonna say for all countries, the reason why it's a construct, it changes everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You can go to different places and it changes. I was in Mozambique and a dude they have in South Africa and Southern Africa in general, they have the race of colored, right? The thing that people were talking shit to Tyler about. I was in Mozambique. They asked me if I was colored because like that my facial hair was straight. Like I have very like fine facial hair. And they asked me if I was colored and I looked at him like, "What'd you say, bro?" Like what are we talking about? Like I'm colored.
Wait, what are we even doing?
What are we talking about, bro? No,
you out of your mind right now?
Yeah, and then me, my brother, and my nephew. My nephew's mother's Ethiopian, and my brother's Haitian, right? And they make a baby, and he looks like an Ethiopian. Them Ethiopian genes are strong, but so we're at the counter at the airport in South Africa, and the lady goes, "Oh, so he's like, you're colored." To my brother, said my brother, who is my blood brother, same parents, he's colored. I was black. And my nephew, who looks Ethiopian because he looks Ethiopian, was black. So she thought that the father of this black man was a colored man. And then my boy, who's light skinned, like high level light skinned, he's like, "Oh well, he's colored, but he looks American." No, he's colored, but he looks American. So that's even a different class. So what I'm trying to tell people is like when you
that's
travel,
what I get.
you understand that race changes within the different boundaries and systems and constructs that exist in this world. So
hold on. Last thing. Mm-hmm. I know that African Americans feel at least a spiritual kinship to our African brothers and sisters who are on the continent. Do people on the continent feel like African Americans are their brothers and sisters, or like not really?
I guess it depends on who you ask, but for the stereotype, I really, really hate the division of African Americans and Africans from the diaspora because there is a difference, but I hate that that's a difference. So there are the people who do the stereotypical when we'll do the argument where they don't connect with Black Americans and say that they're not the same way. But the reason why is because what they get is constant making fun of Africans. People don't talk about that because a lot of Africans don't speak out. But there's a thing I call African face. And where it's perfectly fine. Blackface is bad here, but Black people here will accept African face. And I'll just say two people who do this, and they could be great people, whatever, but I literally, Michael Blackson.
I knew you were going to say Michael Blackson.
What Cat Williams was saying, I was like, is Cat Williams from Nigeria? Was he around my time? He's speaking facts. As an African kid, and I talk to Africans all the time, one of the worst things that happened to us was that scene from Friday, because Americans look at it as funny, and I guess it is, but really, if you look at and another person who did this was Godfrey on Soul Plane, where he's playing the I'm gay man, doing that where it's like super hacky, super stereotypical, and all the jokes, if you pay attention, are just we're soft, we're bitches, we're meek, I'm just a bitch ass nigga. And I was literally like bullied with literal Michael Blackson jokes growing up. So that's what we get. So when people go, I can't get jiggy with this, I'm a bitch ass nigga, that is offensive as hell to Africans. Knowing that when he's wearing clothes from Nigeria, but he's not Nigerian, but Americans wouldn't tell that. It's like, bro, you literally, if a black, to me, this is the same thing as if a black person got on a road like, hey, son, okay, so what we about to do? Give me that watermelon, give me that chicken. It's like, that's the same thing because
yeah,
like,
same shit.
Yeah. So, and it really hurts Africans. It really does.
But guess what?
Africans are soft.
Y'all Nigerians is up now, though. Around the globe, y'all up.
Growing up, it was like that. But now we done got. But that's the thing, and I think that is the problem. Is we keep getting only the worst messages of each other, and we just, instead of finding the things that we're alike, because we all are alike. No, we always do this thing like, are you an FBA? No, then you can't do it. Oh, hip hop was created, and
that happened with the Fat Joe thing too. The Fat Joe, yes. Hip hop is created by Black Americans. That's
I hate when people try to make the argument,
but it's
against that.
And we've all around the world has shared it. The thing that's beautiful is that real people, real recognize real. And when you go to these other countries and you meet other people, brothers, sisters from everywhere, it's always love first. Like this internet shit is here to divide people, and these conversations are all kind of bullshit because in real life, we're out here looking out for each other. I feel like from my anecdotal experience, 80% of the time of my life, we're out here looking forward for each other. So that's just my old statement about that. All those divisions are just ways for us to fight, just like the manosphere niggas talking about women, and so black men and black women all over Instagram fighting each other. All these divisions, it's bullshit.
I just wish that we were in the same room so we could hug and have this kumbaya moment together. But we're gonna have a digital hug and let it go there. Screw.
Come again.
Hanging out. Really appreciate you. Please come back.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Absolutely, man. By the way, I didn't want to say this in the beginning. Being on this was huge. I've been sweating the whole time. I am such a huge, like, I grew up watching you on MTV. That R. Kelly interview was literally one of the most classic moments in the culture. And I can't even believe this is happening right now. And I don't know. So keep doing you. I am beyond honored to both of you guys for being on here too. I was telling my people about this, and they're like, "You about to interview with Torres?" I say, "Yeah, I'm about to. Yeah, I'm out here now." So yeah, that's dope. I super appreciate that.
Take that, Torres. Take that.
Yeah. So
thank you, brother.
More digital.
Appreciate you. A huge part of this culture.
Appreciate you.
You will always be a huge part of this culture. Even if you didn't make the op list, who cares, Nick? The op list was weak. You're bigger than the op list.
I'm going to make it next year.
So,
Green is helping me.
He's
managing me. He's helping me figure out all the things I got to do to make sure I'm on
I can give you a few pointers too. I'll give you a few pointers too. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
All right, Screw.
All right, we out.
Let's Rap Latte.
So much.
I'ma get $1 million in the bank.